Hey there guys, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Bottom Line, and I hope you guys are having a good day. If you guys do enjoy the video, please leave a like, share the video, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Today I have a pretty cool guest with me. He has been in multiple fields and he has his own business kind of going on right now. Kind of something to do with the future, but we'll get more into that. Today I am joined with Mphathi. So before we start, can you just tell myself and the audience what you do and what your company is? Foresight Strategy. So if you could just explain more about that.
Okay, so to start with, the name Foresight is a name is a word given to people who practice the profession of futures thinking, and we help facilitate the thinking about the future, whether it's a future of a singular entity, a future of a community, village, town, or the future of a province or a country. So it's about looking at what the status quo is today, where it's at, in terms of its own defined goals and objectives, what it wishes to become, and how then it wishes to change and morph into something better than itself in the future. So that is how broadly foresight is being used to enable people to sit together, consider the present, and also consider the influences on what is called change. So we call those drivers of change, to look at what the future is likely to become, considering the forces of change. In doing so, there are usually multiple futures that sort of emerge, hypothetically speaking. The first is if you do nothing, if we don't do anything at all, it's clear where we're going to end. If the trajectory is bottom, is downward, so it's a question of how far down you go. If the trajectory is up, how far up you come, and how soon is likely to meet your peak and then decline. Other than that is a great deal of what we say, the what ifs. In the event that conditions change, and maybe if it's a business, there's new competition that comes in, where what's likely to happen to the business? Especially if the business embraces that change. On another hand, what if other disasters happen? How does the organization envisage those having an effect on the organization, and how the organization can then prepare itself for now? But in the end, it's a means by which individuals can actually collaborate and think about the future without actually fighting about it. We call it a facilitated consensus.
So speaking about the future and everything, and with the SONA happening yesterday, a lot of things were said, a lot of people were confused about it, but I want to focus more on the future aspect of South Africa and how it's going forward. So with the SONA in mind and with the future of South Africa, how do you think the youth will benefit from what they heard last night and going forward? Especially with this time, elections is around the corner, registration was last week, and everyone's got their heads around it. So yeah, in short, what do you think the youth of today and tomorrow will be facing?
The youth will be facing many challenges. Let's start with the present challenges one of which is unemployment.
Yeah,
and many others that flow from that. The increased levels of crime, and the slow growth in the economy. So that's basically what I would call the status quo for the youth. However, some of them have been schooled and well qualified in terms of various professions, and some of them have not had the similar opportunities and maybe are falling by the wayside. In reference to SONA, the president made the example of a Teen Swallow, a young person who was born soon after the liberation, or after 1994, and how her life sort of went a particular trajectory, all because of the foundations laid by the government. But I guess many critics have said that there are other.
That's what I was about to say. That's one.
Not as lucky.
Yeah, I was about to say because that's one person. Because if you go to the townships like in some parts of Soweto, Alex, Diepsloot, you'll still see it's very, even going towards Vereeniging side, you'll see it's still very impoverished is the word is the word I could think of right now.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, and a lot of people they're still very youthly, a lot of youth are still living in those areas. So do you think the government can fix that still, and how long will it take them, or do you think that they need to think of a new way of trying to fix that issue?
The tricky part of your question is when you say government will. Which government? So, in other words, is it a seventh administration of the present ruling party or a different government?
Well, I guess it'd be both local and current governments. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So I think the polls and various political pundits, I think there will be a coalition government, that the present ruling party may not necessarily get the same levels of support that it experienced back in 2019. So let's accept that as a fact, and then say perhaps there would be different ways of thinking about how money that is in the treasury should be used, and how efficiently it should be used, and what it should be used on. We know that President Ramaphosa has recently spoke about, well, in the SONA, about how the government has been dealing with corruption. And we know we all witnessed the Wizaranda Commission, and large sums of money have been sort of retrieved from that. So it means then that that money and money that is still to be put into the budget in the future needs to be spent better. It needs to be spent in the building of infrastructure. That's one of the major failures of the government, is that we have not invested sufficiently on infrastructure, or the investments that made on infrastructure haven't produced the benefits that we want. So only now we're talking about building of certain dams that have been long in the making, especially just in terms of pieces of paper that has been written, policy documents, and strategic plans, which have not been implemented. We know about the road infrastructure and how it's affecting transportation of mining products, especially if you think about the harbor in KwaZulu-Natal. I can go on and on. The water infrastructure currently is getting attention.
Yeah.
But you know what? We have a big challenge in terms of exploiting all our water sources, especially groundwater sources, for example, are areas where we haven't really been able to exploit. So let's come back to what the opportunities are then for the young people.
Yeah.
I think, again, to the credit of government, there has been a great deal of focus on TVET colleges. This is now where young people can come out with actual skills, technical skills. This is what we need. And because of that, if for instance, on the back of the infrastructure investment, jobs are created that need the skills of the young people already trained, then there's hope for us as a country, and there's hope for them. We of course don't forget the whole tech trajectory. I think South African youth, thanks to institutions like the Enterprise Partner Foundation, where I am now, are helping young people to hone their skills and their ways of thinking, their creativity in being able to solve problems that we face in the country. In that respect, there is hope.
It is good to know that there is hope. Just my own personal thing is, I wish the government and both local and current government, it's a provincial government. My brain is just would do more focusing on helping communities build up more. Because if you start with a community that helps, if you build the community first, that will help with the youth actually getting more inspiration, actually building up more. But besides that, before we end, what inspirational thing or quotes do you live by, or do you have for a young viewer watching this?
Okay, let's start with maybe closing the conversation we've had. A former head of the ANC, President Oliver Tambo, is quoted as having said that a country that does not invest in its youth will have no future. So that's really the one mantra that inspires me to actually want to be able to interact with the youth all the time and be involved with the youth. For young people, I would say they shouldn't really spend too much time thinking about the past, but they should spend a great deal of time looking at how the world is opening up to them. And there's many examples where there are fewer and fewer obstacles to their creativity. So they should have a great deal of faith and trust in themselves, but more than anything, they have to invest in having a skill. Somebody must be good at something that society needs, and they must be able to envisage their own futures. And really, that's the one way to then bring back foresight in saying institutions as large as the United Nations through UNESCO have established something called the Futures Literacy specifically for the youth, because foresight is seen as a catalyst for development.
Going on to what you said about Oliver Tambo, former president of the ANC, I do agree that investing in the youth is highly important. And I think we are slowly getting there. But eventually, I think that we do need a change around how we get there as well, and focusing more on, I guess, the IT space. But anyways, thank you so much for coming on. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe. And share the video as well with your friends and family. Mphathi, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ben. It's been a pleasure to be here.